Greetings, kids and nerds. I'm Lady Universe and White Nerdy, and welcome to Lady Universe Top 10. If you recall, Robert Pattinson's The Batman was one of the most highly successful, basically, reevaluations of the character, really bringing Batman back to the more darker roots as if the comic books come to life. Not really the Dennis O'Neil and Neil Adams kind of work. No, it's more like Frank Miller's work come to life, which there's nothing wrong with that. But the character had some really unique villains that we still haven't seen all that much. So, we know that, one, possibly, they keep changing it around, saying that it's going to be one or the other. So, for either number two or number one, for me, it's going to be like Clayface or Mr. Freeze because they keep teasing it's going to be Clayface. No, it'll be Mr. Freeze. No, it'll be Clayface. No, it'll be Mr. Freeze. It's like, we we know it's going to be one of those two. And you might be thinking you're talking about Batman while wearing a Deadpool shirt. Yes. Look, I don't own many Batman t-shirts, and I haven't worn this one in a while for talking about anything. So we're just gonna leave it just as it is. So for this list, I want to be talking about villains that necessarily Batman kind of hasn't played around with yet. So, no inclusion of the Riddler on this list. I can still include the Penguin, but he might not be higher up on the list like the rest of his road gallery. And also, these are just going to be my pick for Batman villains. These are going to be the ones that I really want to see be done in this new format. Now, I'm not talking about all the past Batman films. I mostly, where are you? There you are. I mostly want to talk about villains that we've seen in the Batman, and I'm not going to include Catwoman because she's an anti-hero. She's always going to be an anti-hero. So if she appears in the Batman too, which I love Zoe Saldana, she's going to be there. Okay, she's just going to be there in the film previously and prior. So, but it's anyone that I want to see done in this style format for the Batman. So that means basically giving them a grittier and darker reboot, and the ones that I feel could really fit into this universe. So, let's dive over into the DC Comics Ultimate Character Guide yet again, and see which characters that I want to see for the Batman 2. Basically, it's mostly like top 8 because the number 2 and number 1 slot is basically going to be like a mixture between Clayface and Mr. Freeze. So, look, I don't know what you want from me because I already teased both of these guys for being either or in it. It seems like they're going to shoot Mr. Freeze, but then they could come back and say, no, we're shooting Clayface instead. Look, I don't know what you want from us, but just pick a villain. Pick one. Alright? In the name of Yuntown, pick one. Pick both. We don't care. Well, that all said and done out of the way, let's grab our batarangs and head down to the Batcave. This is the Lady Universe Top 10 Batman villains that I want to see in the Batman 2. So, let's start the countdown. At number 10, Bane. Bane is Batman's longest and most running adversary, and I think that the Dark Knight Rises film captured him quite perfectly, but I think that he would be a good adversary for the Robert Pattinson Batman. You can have him be this mysterious man that came from Santa Prisca, and basically Batman had no idea how to fight him. He's stronger, he's smarter, and in every which way he's better than a Dark Knight detective. It'd be quite wonderful. You could either have him with the Venom and then he gets off of the Venom, or you can just have him with the Venom completely. It's completely up to the filmmaker's choice, but I think that he would be a great inclusion into this more darker universe, and you could really play on a darker Bane kind of element, make him even darker than what was in the Dark Knight Rises. But that's just me. I'd love to see this big backbreaker in the Batman sequel, but it's unlikely that he'd be there, but you could still set him up if we ever get to Batman 3. Number 9, the Penguin. Look, it seemed very obvious through Colin Farrell's introduction and with his way that he played his character that it would be obvious that he would be set up for a sequel at some point. He might re-show back up in the sequel, but he might not be the main villain, but he might be a little bit helpful with the main villain. I mean, Oswald Cobblepot is basically Bruce Wayne's alternate ego, more or less. He's like a darker persona of Bruce Wayne. He would really be awesome to play into this role. And I really do think that Colin does deserve being the Batman villain at some point. His miniseries I've heard was really damn good, so playing this up even more would make it even more obvious. While I don't think that he'd be the villain for the sequel, he still might pop up. But if there's ever a Batman 3, I can see Colin Farrell returning as the Penguin and giving the people what they want, the Penguin as Batman's main adversary for another movie. At number 8, the Man-Bat. Yes, Man-Bat would work great in this darker universe, especially since Man-Bat was supposed to be in the Batman Returns sequel a long time ago. So it'd be awesome if we actually put him in the film. You could have Bruce Wayne meet Kirk Langstrom, realize that he's working on a project that will help people. He will help the deaf and hard of hearing people by using the secret experiment. But when Batman finds out something's not quite right with your serum, Kirk can become angry with him and basically rage out against the machine and basically go against him. You could even have him turn against Batman and even accidentally kill his own wife in the process. This would be amazing to see. Yeah, he mostly works with Ra's and Talia al Ghul, but on his own, Man-Bat could be such a terrifying figure to use. Just do what you did in the Batman Arkham Knight video game. He would be definitely perfect. And yeah, Langstrom is mostly one of Batman's lesser known villains, but still, he could work. You could set him up, and then in the Batman 3, he could definitely do some real damage to him. Speaking of villains that could do damage, number 7, the Mad Hatter. This would work perfectly. Why had no one thought of this idea yet? And you could give him the same origin story that he had in the Batman animated series. You could have Jervis Tech be working for Wayne Enterprises until he loses his mind. Have Bruce Wayne go to him and say, "Hey, you're doing a little bit of strange things, and the women kind of complain about you and your hideous appearance. Don't you think that you could try not to do that anymore?" Where he accidentally gets fired, and then Jervis is like, "Oh, you want to screw with me, my friend? Okay, well, I'll take you down to Wonderland." It almost writes itself. No, you don't have to have Jervis's really disturbing backstory, whether or not he rapes women or whatever, but still, his powerful skills of manipulating people, that is honestly the scariest thing, and he would work so perfectly in the darker Batman universe. Why in the hell did no one think about doing this yet? Look, I'm giving you ideas. I don't care if you use this idea. Paul Dini doesn't care if you use the same origin from Batman the Animated Series. Just put Mad Hatter in a live-action film, for God's sake. Number 6, Poison Ivy. I know Poison Ivy has shown up in Batman and Robin, the film that we don't talk about. And she was kind of awesome in that film, I'm not gonna lie, but I think that she needs a better retelling. You could have Dr. Pamela Isley be working with alongside Wayne Tech. They're trying to work on something to help heal people, plant related. And when Pamela tries it on herself, she accidentally turns herself into Poison Ivy, and Batman has to try to figure out how he can heal the Good Doctor. When the Good Doctor's human mutant form is going way out of haywire, he learns that he cannot heal her and that she's forever stuck in this plant-human hybrid. It's an idea that can work, and it's something that I'm afraid to say that we never get to see Poison Ivy that much in the live-action films except one time. I think that she deserves a redo on that part. Just hit the reset button and damn, you're able to create your own new Poison Ivy. And I think that she'd work perfectly in a darker The Batman element. Okay, sure, you can have her team up with Zoe Salandra for Catwoman, and then you can tease Harley Quinn in a later film, but hey, that's just me, and I'm just thinking out loud that this idea would work so perfectly with Poison Ivy, and giving her a much more darker origin, and also, hey, I'd love to see the Gotham City Sirens in live-action form. That would be freaking awesome. So yeah, Poison Ivy would work definitely great for a Batman movie. Number 5, Deadshot. How do you trick the world's greatest detective? By putting him up against the world's greatest assassin. You could have Floyd Lawton being being assigned by the Penguin, for example, and being used to go up and try to kill the Batman. He'd be a perfect adversary for Batman. You could have him pick off people, have him shoot Alfred for God's sake, and have Bruce Wayne consider whether or not he should actually go up against his foe or not. Have Batman be thinking that guns might be the answer for one. Have him go against his own moral. Are guns really the answer to taking down my foes? And should I eliminate Deadshot once and for all? It's a dark story, for sure, but it would definitely work for a darker type of universe. And also, Deadshot, aside from Will Smith playing him, which he didn't do too bad, deserves a live action movie, and he deserves to go up against the Batman. Here, I mean, come on, a darker origin for Floyd Lawton? Please tell me I'm not the only one that thinks that idea could work. Number 4, the Joker. Yes, obviously, because if you saw the ending of the Batman, you know that the Joker was teased, and it's only a matter of time before we see Batman, longest running criminal, upon end the criminal adversaries for the Batman. Yeah, I have to say, as a long-time Joker fan, I must admit I'm pretty excited to see Joker 2, and I'm hoping that they do his origin well done. In fact, you could skip the really good Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie and just keep his origin a mystery like it is in the comic. You could have him be the Red Hood, be a guy that's been hired to try to kill the Batman until he accidentally is pushed into Ace Chemicals. When he awakens, he becomes this new, deranged, out of control supervillain, and Batman had to try to figure out how the hell do I understand this deranged criminal's mind. It would be an awesome type of story to tell, and yeah, Joker is one of Batman's most dangerous villains because Batman still doesn't understand how the Joker's mind works because he always tricks him. He always makes up his own rules. He always goes with things on the fly. But it would be wonderful to see Joker back in the form again. Yeah, I am one of those people that's kind of sick and tired of seeing Joker over and over and over again, but I do understand that he is pretty popular. But there is one of my favorite Batman villains that hasn't gotten a live action form yet for a movie, even though he'd been teased at one a long time ago. And that's at number 3, the Ventura Quest. I love the Ventura Quest, whether it be Peyton Riley or Arnold Wesker. Scarface, the Ventura Quest, is an amazing Batman villain, and his dark origin could work even so much better. You could have it be that Arnold Wesker worked for Bruce Wayne until he suddenly went crazy, started hearing voices in his head. But the voice came out of the doll, which completely confused Batman. He didn't know how to defeat this villain until he finds out, wait a minute, this isn't two separate villains. It's the same villain who doesn't know that this evil voice is in his head, and Batman had to try to figure out how to help his best friend, while at the same time, how to take down this deranged killer puppet. It is an amazing idea that could work in itself, and it really could show a more human side of Batman, while at the same time showing some pretty dark stuff. I mean, come on, it's the voice in their head. Even the Batman the Animated Series did this idea quite well with the dark territory of the voices that Arnold hears in his head. So, yeah, man, I mean, it would honestly write itself if they really stop and think about how dark that they could turn Arnold Wesker or even Peyton Riley. I mean, come on, she was married to a mobster of the time of Gotham City, and then when her husband died, she basically went crazy, created Scarface, and boom. Now either way, you have a perfect villain sitting right here with a pretty dark origin story that you could use for a Batman movie. Number 2, Clayface. Okay, seriously, how did we not get Clayface yet in a Batman movie? He would work so well. Just make a live adaptation of a Batman animated series origin. But Basil Carwell was once this great actor. He got addicted to this type of liquid makeup, and then on the next thing that he knows, he's suddenly transforming. His face suddenly gets deformed, and there's nothing that he can do about it. Just keep buying the makeup over and over again until he becomes so addicted to it that he can't stop himself. It turns out that the makeup was made at Ace Chemicals and just transformed him into this giant mud monster who Batman had to try to figure out, is the person I'm talking to the real person? Or is it Clayface? Who can I trust and who I can't? It's an idea that would honestly work. And as much as I love Clayface, as much as I'd love to see that dark origin come real, I'm sorry to say, but yes, I am honestly looking forward to the number one person on this list and the one that they teased over and over and over again. And yes, at number one, Mr. Freeze. He is a character that would work so well in a darker origin. You wouldn't have to change a thing from the Batman the Animated Series origin. Just have it be Victor Freeze has his beautiful wife Nora Freeze when she's struck down with a terrible disease that he had to try to figure out how to save her. And you could even make it a tragic story for him that he's trying so hard, he's overworking himself, he's overtired, he's overstressed, but he wants to save the love of his life. Until Ferris Boyle comes in and screwed with him, even though Bruce Wayne said, "Look, I can help you fund the whole thing, I can help you try to save your wife, but you have to promise me, Victor, that you won't take it too far." Until he accidentally does and transforms himself into Mr. Freeze. Mr. Freeze is such a sympathetic, tragic villain that anyone can look at and say, yes, he deserves another origin story. Even I'll admit, as much as Batman and Robin was a complete shit movie, Arnold Schwarzenegger honestly did a good job with the tragic Mr. Freeze, and they did a wonderful job with the Heart of Ice origin story. So just do that again. Maybe play the whole thing out like it's a Mr. Freeze movie and include Batman here and there. But honestly, Mr. Freeze definitely deserves to be in another movie. But that is just my list, people. What do you think? Which Batman villain do you think should be in the Batman movie? Are there any of them that you would pick that you would put in here? Like maybe some of the more obscure ones that you could give a darker origin to? Let me know in the comment section down below. I honestly would love to hear you guys' opinions on maybe like use the old Eraser, maybe even use Zebra Man for God's sake. Or that really weird one that had all the eyes, the 10-eyed man or whatever. Now that, as a creepy origin, that could work. But let me know you guys' thoughts and opinions down in the comments down below of which villains that you would include in the darker universe. And do you agree with my list? Let me know in the comment section down below. Make your own top 10 of villains that you like to see, whether ones that I included or ones I didn't include. You tell me what Batman villains that you'd like to see. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching the top 10. I believe in universe. I want you to keep it on. And if you want to help the channel and support it grow, the best way to do so is by liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing, hitting that bell icon so you're notified every single time I make an upload. And also, if you want to join me or talk to me or see whatever that I'm working on behind the scenes, sometimes I do that and sometimes I don't, then be sure to click the link down below where you can follow me at Twitter. But thank you guys so much for watching. I believe in universe. I brought you to keep it on. And thank you guys for watching the Universe Top 10. And until next time, and as always, take care.